Welcome to Life Coaches Unfiltered, where Desiree, Doree, and Michelle, three life coaches, are here to answer the questions you have, but we're afraid to ask. No fluff, no filters, just real talk to help you navigate life's big challenges. Let's dive in.
Hey, y'all, welcome to another episode of Life Coaches Unfiltered. Today, we are unpacking, as life coaches, we want you guys to be successful if you hire a coach. So, we're doing a little mini series on coaching. This is our second. The last episode that we did, we talked about how to find a life coach that's right for you. And in this episode, we're going to talk about something that you bring to the table, which is coming to your sessions in a coachable way and being coachable, embodying this whole idea of being coachable. So, what the hell does that mean, right? You can read self help books, you can have a life coach, but things are not changing. So, we're going to unpack what it means to be coachable, how you can increase your chances of having a successful coaching relationship. So, with that, that's kind of what we're talking about. Let's jump into the topic. Do you guys have any thoughts before we get started on being coachable?
I have quite a few things. I feel that you have to go in with an open mind because, and hopefully the coach, if they're doing a good job, they're going to kind of just ask you lots of questions and you're going to have, and as well as the open mind, you need to be honest with yourself because I feel honesty is the best policy. Maybe some people don't believe in that. But you have to be honest with yourself and be open-minded because I feel like I'm not going to say trained or programmed, but you have these conceptions that been given from your family, right? And you're going to try and use them as you become an adult. And then sometimes you realize that these things that your parents have said don't actually resonate with you anymore. And so that's where you have to have the open mind. Like, yeah, my parents were trying to do a good thing, but really, that is not part of me, and I'm going to have to follow my own path. And yes, it may piss people off, like your family, but you have to live for yourself. So I feel that being open-minded and, being honest with yourself, if it doesn't fit you and you've outgrown something, be honest with that. Because there's going to be something else that may fit you, and you can then blossom and flower and do whatever you want. Um, if you don't have those two things, then you cannot be coached. I feel
I
my
agree
personal opinion.
100%. I totally agree because I think that, especially being on the hypnotherapy side of this too, what I see a lot sometimes are people come in with their arms crossed and they're like, change me. And you're like, this is like, I'm not gonna, if I had a magic wand, y'all, I'd use it all the time. There would be like, constant glitter coming off my body. But because I don't have that, doesn't, I cannot do something for somebody they don't want, or they're going to come halfway to the party.
Yeah.
The results that you get are by the way you show up. And if you're ready for change, then yes, being open to suggestions, being open to look at yourself. You're going to see some things that you probably didn't know that were existing under the hood, and being able to accept that and know that it's a process too. And that it's not going to be like with, again, with the hypnotherapy piece of it, I was like, this didn't happen overnight. It's more than likely not going to happen in just one session. You're not going to walk away from here and just be like, oh, I'm now, happy and free. You've spent a whole lifetime being curmudgeony and, looking at, waiting for the other shoe to drop. Then
Mm.
it's going to take a while to kind of shift that perception and sort of thing, but you got to be open to it. What do you think, Desiree?
I think, if we were to like define what being coachable means, it's to be open to being wrong and to like recognize when your ego might be showing up and being like, yeah, I don't want to hear this, but there might be some truth to it.
Mhm.
Um, I recently heard like even with people you disagree with, there's still a little portion of what they're saying that you will agree with. So where can you find that common ground? So, yes, being coachable is being open to other ideas, being open to being wrong, being open to trying new things, hearing other perspectives. And I think that our nervous system wants to keep us safe. Our brains like to see things as right or wrong, black or white, this or that. And being coachable, I love what you said, Doree, about like people come and they're like, just change me. But what came up for me is thank goodness we're not like that. Thank goodness we don't work that way. Because think about how susceptible we would be to other people's control if we were.
Hmm.
Then we would just be little robots. So I guess that's the flip side of we all have agency over ourselves, over our decisions, over how we come to this coaching relationship. Michelle, you had some really great points about like, our families instill these things and we think we walk through the world thinking that the whole world is like this and that everybody has had our life experience. No, we have
Yes.
such different life experiences.
Yep.
The beautiful thing is, I think when we can step out and see other people's life experiences and hear their experience, we recognize how much more beautiful the world is with the diversity. If everything was just one kind of flower, how boring would that be? Right? There's just one type of tree. Everybody's dog looked the same, you know? Anyway, that's just
Yeah.
Yeah, you're absolutely right. I think too, I- it's part of being coachable as well is knowing that like what I mentioned is it ebbs and flows. The part of the coaching experience will ebb and flow, and fear has a way of pulling you
Mhm.
back. It all always. I mean, I will guarantee you, if you start coaching with anybody, listener, the people that are listening, if you start coaching with someone, there will come a point in time where fear will creep back in and say, "Hey, this isn't working," or it would just be easier to go back to the way we were, and all of those different things. But if you got a really good coach, they're there to help bust through that barrier. And really get you over the hump of that experience. I would say the other part of being coachable is trusting the process. That's
Mhm.
what I'm,
Yeah.
trust that the process, if you've got a good coach, and you maybe not their first one, but even if you are their first client, know that if they're a good coach, they're going to be able to walk you through and get you through. We call it a resistance barrier. If you get through the resistance barrier and make it on the other side, the good thing about a barrier is it's just kind of like you can't unknow something. And so once you've opened your mind to a coach and you start learning all these little nuggets of things, you can't unknow it. And if the resistance comes in and you've got the coach that's helping you through that, you still can't unknow what you just learned.
and one thing, if you're feeling that resistance, don't be afraid to say it to your coach. I
Hmm.
think that makes you coachable. Like what Michelle was saying, I think you pointed out honesty, right? Being honest with yourself, right? But also being honest with your coach of like, I'm feeling some freaking resistance around there because those edges of resistance, that fear that's pushing back, it's keeping you safe, but there's something behind that. And
Yeah,
Mhm.
that's the key to unlock to get through that barrier.
Most
yeah.
definitely.
Even bad, destructive behaviors, if you've done them over a time and they've become a habit, it's what your body and your mind and everything knows. And so in that way, it is the safety zone because it's predictable. As humans, we want things to be predictable. And so even when you're in shit, it's still predictable, right? And so that's what the mind will try to do is coerce you back into the predictable safe because we know it's going to be the way it's going to be. That other stuff is scary. And some people, even happiness, freedom of choice is scary. And so that's what we have to look at when we're when you're working with a coach is leaning into them to help you through the scary bits.
Yeah. So being
Yeah.
willing to accept help.
Yeah.
And also you have to have some patience because if we're trying to change habits and mindsets, it's not gonna happen overnight. It's gonna take at least 30 to 60 days minimum for maybe one habit to change. And if there's several, then it's going to be a long time of coaching to kind of get to where you need to be. So there's got to be an element of patience. And I think that some people, when they think, oh yeah, coach can fix me in a couple of sessions, as you said, Doree, with your hypnotherapy, it's just kind of like, no, no, it's going to take a while. And there's a process, and we have to go step by step. And, we have to check on the false evidence appearing real, as some people like to say, and let's unpack that. And then if we're unpacking that, then something else may come up. So we've got to unpack this in order for us to move forward. So it takes time. It really does take time. And if you're an impatient person, maybe you need to work on your patience.
Something
I
that
used
my
to be I used to be one of those people. So
something that my grief teacher said is our pain is our map to our healing. And so I believe that the resistance is too, like those things that are coming up. So let's talk about like how, if you're sitting here and you're listening to this and you're like, yeah, I'm open-minded. Yeah, I'm available to feedback. Like, what are some, like, sometimes I'll meet somebody and I'll be like, oh, I don't feel that they would do well in a coaching relationship or they're not coachable. What are those things that might be gotchas for those people? Like, one thing that's coming up for me, I'm just gonna say this is why I'm lobbing this fireball out into the bonfire, is people that think that they know everything because they watch TikTok videos. So they're like, well, I know why I'm this way. And I'm like, well, if you know everything, then why haven't you fixed it? Right. So, like the know it alls, I feel like their ego has to show up and they have to posture and say, these are all the things that I know about myself and I know myself so well. And I'm like, well, then why are you still having this problem?
Yeah, I think the ego for sure can get in the way of it's a defense mechanism. These are all defense mechanisms of, I and it hurts. I mean, think about it this way too. I mean, when you show up and you want to get a coach and you're in it and then you start realizing that you're not, perfectionism was one of my big things that I've had to work with, throughout my life, as being perfect and this striving for being perfect. But when you start like analyzing where you're at in your life and you start noticing and you start getting open for feedback, oh my God, you're open for feedback for someone to say to you, hey, have you thought about this? Then you become defensive a little bit and it kind of hurts a little bit because it's something that you're like, oh, then they see you know it's there. So don't even try to like think that you don't know it's there, but then you realize, oh, other people notice it too. And I think that that's one of the things from my own personal experience from being coach. Not even just from a coach, just from relationships and things like that, is when someone says to me, hey, did you know that when you do this, it happens or you're this way? And it's kind of shocking because it's something I knew about myself, but I didn't realize it was so visible to other people. And then maybe it's something I need to look at changing because I'm not perfect. I know that that's shocking to you, Desiree.
None of it. Nobody's perfect.
what?
Nobody.
What are you saying? I was going to talk about perfectionism, Dory. I mean, you said it. I was like, damn it.
Well,
But
it's
because I was
just
just
you
because
probably haven't.
that to me is, I mean, that's hard for someone. Like everything has to have its right place at the right time, at the right moment, and you're just kind of like, all right, that's too much. You put in so much pressure and stress on yourself that it has to be a certain way. Why does it have to be a certain way? Because even if, and I know I'm probably going off tangent, even if you design something, a prototype or whatever, it's going to be messy. There's no straight path. And so there's really no straight path about life. It's going to be messy and it can't be perfect. And if it can be perfect, then tell us what the secret sauce is, because none of us know.
Right.
But I would also say the people pleasers, because they
She
don't.
pointed at me, by the way, listeners, when she said that.
You're so funny.
I'm on a roll today.
They just want to, again, I understand that they want to help people and everything, but those boundaries, like, we don't need everyone steamrolling over you. And
Yeah.
that is very, again, that can cause resentment, stress, all those types of things. But again, it's one of those things that people are gonna struggle to kind of put that boundary, because again, it's all about the perception. Well, if I do this, then someone's not going to like me, and then I don't want to upset them, and I don't want to have any conflict, and la 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 la. But hold on a minute, you are doing everything for everyone else, and you don't have time for yourself. That's a problem. That's a problem. So I would say boundaries are something that people struggle with a lot. And I will put my hand up for that too.
And we have an
I think we
episode.
all can, right?
Yeah. We have an episode on boundaries and another. So I'll put that in the show notes if you want to listen to a little bit more about what boundaries are, if that's a new term for you, if you don't know what the hell we're talking about. Um, but also, you can, it's okay for you to, I think that being coachable, it's okay to also have boundaries with your coaching
Yeah.
person, with your coach,
Mhm.
and say, I don't want to talk about that. Like, it doesn't necessarily make you not coachable. Um, but so I think that there's an edge there. There's a kind of a spectrum of coming in, I would say not coachable is I know everything. This is just who I am. This is how it's always been. I want you to fix me. So, right? Like, not taking ownership of their part in the process
Yeah.
and being closed-minded, versus like, somebody who's just at the whim of whatever their coach says and they become this oracle that knows all. They're not going to know all. A true coach will help you uncover the answers that lie within you. So a coaching relationship is, I don't want to say a give and a take, it's a partnership. It's not some magical oracle that has gone off and been enlightened by the Buddhist monks in the mountains of Nepal for 90 days and they come back and they just share all this wisdom. If it was that easy, like,
I mean,
we'd
that
all
would
be
be
That sounds
awesome.
fantastic.
amazing.
It does sound amazing. I'm sitting here thinking, where can I sign up?
Actually, Michelle.
Hey, we I think we need to just have like our favorite, the listeners, the dedicated listeners, let's just go to Michelle will plan us a all expenses paid trip to Bali or maybe to a monastery in Nepal and we will go on barefoot hikes with monks.
Fairfax.
I don't know, but I think I
Yes.
hear they eat soup all the time. I think that would get old for me.
Hey, I'd lose a lot of weight, so give me the soup. As long as it's got protein in it, I'm good.
Dusty would come with her little packs of snacks. I would pack a bunch of backpacking meals and just be like in my room, doctoring up the
You're
soup.
so
No, that would,
funny.
anyway, food is important to me. As you can tell, I am Cajun. I like food. Anyway, okay. Whoo, squirrel. That was a little ADHD
Coaching. That's what we're
commercial.
talking about. Coaching. Yes.
Sorry, that's a little ADHD commercial break for y'all. Okay. So what do you do with the person that shows up and just says this is just who I am? Like
I
what do
don't
y'all
accept them. I really am like, well, I can't help you then. Like, I need you to be, again, I need you to be open-minded, because, there are probably things that we need to tackle. Like, yes, this is you, but really, is it? Really, is it? Like there's something, there might be another person, there might be a facade. Again, the perfectionism, there might be the facade. But I'm quite picky with who I work with. I'm so sorry. Because
Uh,
if someone is coming to me and saying, I need you to change me, no. You have to have the mindset to say, I need to make a change. Not you got to change me. Mm-mm.
mm.
Go and see a therapist. I'm not here to change you. I'm here to help you, but I'm not going to get in the subconscious mind. That's not my job. But or you could go to Doree or go to a therapist. But I'm here to help you and to be the accountability. But you have to have the mindset of I want to change. I'm not. It's not the fact that it's like make me change. Mm-mm. No, no. So sorry.
But even on the subconscious level of the mind, it doesn't work like that. I mean, one of the things I ask people when I do the complimentary, session, it's a mini session, but it's complimentary because I want to get to know them as well. But I ask why now,
Mm.
and it's because of the fact that number one, I want to be successful as a coach. I don't want to just take it just anybody because, I want results. I want to help people get results. So I'm gonna if someone comes in with their hands crossed across their chest and go, I bet you can't hypnotize me. You know what? I'm not even gonna bet on that. So but,
Okay.
but why now? Why are you here? And these are the things to ask yourself before you even pursue a coach, I think, is, what makes this different than the 50 times before? Because I will tell you, if you're thinking of going to see a coach, this has occurred to you before. And it's occurred multiple times and in different ways. It starts out as a whisper and then it becomes a scream. And that's where you have to look and just go, why now? What is it that I want to do? But you're right, Michelle, if somebody comes to me and go, you can't change me. Okay.
Yeah.
That's okay.
Like
I
it's
wish you the best and here's my card. Call me when, or I'm the same. I don't want it's a beautiful experience when you have people that you're working with that are open to change and are like, something's got to give. I know even for myself, like with my journey in sobriety, y'all, something had to give. I was at a point in my life where it was, you hear it's a rock bottom. Rock bottom can mean so many different things. For me, it was like just a moral, spiritual, like foundation of core of who I was that was rocked, that was like something's got to give. And I think that that is the place of where people become the most coachable. You can become coachable before you hit your quote rock bottom. So I'm not saying that, but and don't let it get to that point if you can. But know that there comes a point where you're like, something's got to change and I can't continue this way anymore. And that's when you 100% know that you're coachable, I think.
I would agree.
Yeah, if somebody came to me and said, "This is just who I am," I'd be like, "Well, then why are you here?" And then, I could playing this out in my head. Well, my mom is just a real pain in my ass and I need her to change, right? So this is another thing. Like, talk about the people that come to coaching and want to change other people. What are your
Yeah.
thoughts on that? Like, I'm like, you're barking up the wrong tree, friend.
Yeah.
Coaching is not about changing somebody who is not in this room.
Is that like, again, magic wand? If I could have it, then, everybody would be like walking around singing songs from The Sound of Music. If I could change everybody, yeah,
I
that's
think they
not,
need to become a coach if they want to change someone. It's like, I'm going to coach you for free. Come on
yeah,
in.
yeah.
Yeah, but then they might be taking on unwilling clients who are not coachable in the way
I
of
mean,
family members.
they'll learn. They'll learn. They'll learn the hard way.
Gosh.
Might we suggest some coach training for you and
I
let you
mean,
duke it out?
there is
Well,
that.
and along those same lines too, is if someone is pressuring you to get coached.
Mm,
If they're pressuring you to, like, if you've got a spouse that says, if you don't change, I'm leaving. Are you really ready to make that change, or are you doing it just to save the relationship temporarily? That's the other thing to look at as well. And when you're sobriety thing, and this is because this is relevant for everything, right? So the whole journey in sobriety is relative just to everything. They call it a design for a living, and truly is for everybody. Um, and I think, people that have been to not only AA meetings, but Al-Anon meetings and all of these things can relate to this. It's not about like getting sober for someone else. That works temporarily. It's about, again, why are you doing it and getting to the core of it. So doing coaching for yourself and not because you're trying to grasp at saving a relationship with someone else is key as well.
Mm.
That that is a really great point, Doree. A really great
Yeah.
point.
No, it
And
is.
I'll preface this with saying, like, I've been, in the past, I've been divorced for almost 9 years. And in the past couple years, I've had periods where I was in multi-year relationships, like couple month relationships, shorter term relationships, and being single. And the most growth that I've experienced was when I was single because I had the time and the space to work on myself. So
Mm.
if you're always trying to fit into your partner's viewpoint, or like if this is a relationship that you're trying to maintain where you're feeling like you have to shape shift, maybe it's okay to just set that aside and work on yourself for a while. I think a lot of people are just afraid of being lonely, and so
Which is
they cling.
understandable. It's
Yeah.
understandable. But
Yes.
yeah, I would definitely say I would agree with you. Fix yourself first because you don't know what else you're going to bring. I mean, we all have baggage. We all have
That's
baggage.
right. That's right.
So, but again, own the baggage, understand the baggage, have strategies to deal with the baggage, and understand how you want to pursue. I know we're talking about relationships, how you want to improve yourself in the next relationship that you have with someone.
And
I think that's key.
the other thing is you might be in a relationship with someone who is not coachable. I mean, that's been me, right? At some point, mm, it was like this person is not willing to change, and you know, you need to comply with everything that they want you to do. I was like, this is not love, this is control.
Mhm.
And I can understand why this person misinterprets control for love, but I don't have to be subject to that. So when you work on yourself first, it also helps you to know that you can walk away from things that don't serve you because you know who you are. Anyway, I didn't mean to get on that tangent too. Um,
It's all relevant.
it is. It is. So you guys work with younger folks. Both of you kind of work with younger folks. What are some ways that you see coachability in younger clients? Is it the same? I mean, I think as we get older, we can become more set in our ways and we're like, I have all this life experience, I have all this wisdom, right? Um, are young people, do you feel like young people are more open or less open to being coachable? To being coached, I should say.
I
I
feel, go
Go
ahead,
ahead. No,
Michelle. You
you go
go
ahead,
first.
Doree. You go ahead.
I I feel like it depends. It depends on, again, why they're there. If their parents made them come, no. I've had a client who was not, you could clearly tell the parents were the one pushing for the change and they were not ready for it. And that's fine. Um, so there was that. But when they are stepping to the table themselves and saying, I need help, I find that they're open to more what's the ideas, they're open to different techniques. And a lot of times too, like I know the three of us, we talk the same language. We've done similar things, Desiree, you're into yoga, I am too. We know all these different things that we do that we assume everybody else already knows. And we assume everybody already knows about breathing techniques and things like that because we've been living and doing it for a long time. But young people, a lot of them, some of this stuff is just so brand new to them. And it's really, that's one reason why I like working with young people so much is because they are so like open to like teach me, when they're the ones coming, they're like, show me this, show me that, tell me how to do this. And for me, it's setting them up for success as an adult, which is really, really cool. And one of the reasons why I love working with them so much. But yeah, I think that they are open to trying new things and anything that we can do to teach them the right way to do something besides the way certain social media platforms. I actually really quick sidebar. Here comes my squirrel. There's actually, if you could go and read, for the listeners, go and listen, that there is an astounding number of young adults who actually go to a social media platform that sounds like a clock that they go to for financial advice and mental health advice. That's scary. That's really scary because I could go out on that platform today and tell everybody that the best way to get, like, have a free life is start clucking like a chicken. And how many people do you think would actually start doing that? Anyway, that's my sidebar. Michelle, here you go.
Wow. I'm not on TikTok. So,
I was trying not to say the name, so
sorry, I'm just, you know me. I'm gonna say how it is. I would agree with you, Doree. There are some adults, young adults who are open, but I feel that they think that they know everything. And I'm not saying we need to knock them off their perch a little bit, but it's kind of like, oh, here's the come to Jesus moment. Like, I know that you think that you know everything, but if you do this, this is probably what's going to happen. And is this something that you want to happen? Oh, well, no, let me think about it. So, I think there needs to be those come to Jesus moments and conversations with them. But I do think that they are, if they see themselves as comparing again the social media aspect of comparing themselves to friends and why am I not where they are and everything like that, that can get very sad and they lack the confidence and their self-esteem. And so having that person to kind of help them that's not mum or dad who's moaning and nagging them all the time, I feel that they are more open to kind of listening and to trying different things and seeing what works and using those different techniques. I sometimes feel that they can be like a sponge as well. They just want to take all the information and try it, which I think is great. Um, but again, there's some kids, as Dory said, that the parents are forcing it and then I mean, I've experienced it where I had one client, he did everything that I asked him to do, and then he just sabotaged everything. And I'm just kind of like, oh dear.
I think
And then there's only so much I can do, you know? I think
it,
then you need to find another expert because this is as far as I can go. And so this is out of my realm. So I think there needs to be more intervention with someone else.
I think it's about being coachable. Like for me, one of my best clients was actually a middle-aged man who was just like, I must change. I must do something different. And he was I like just so like he was like a sponge. I was like, try this book. One of the best books I could tell people that, if you're dabbling into like wanting to have new mind change and things like that, The Four Agreements is such an easy book to read and it's really, really thought-provoking. And that was the first book I gave him. And he came back the next week, said, I read the entire thing. What's next? So I don't think I think it's all about being coachable and ready to change. And it was a beautiful experience. He is quite a change. I mean, I'm not taking responsibility that he did that, but you know what? It's really amazing when you see someone on the other side of it and go, wow, 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 so cool.
It is.
That is awesome. What a cool story. Yeah, the thing that I remember from the four agreements is be impeccable with your word. That's one of the four agreements. So one little thing before we wrap up, I just wanted like there was a great point here about like this isn't about shaming people into, like or there's a balance and an approach to being coachable. It's about being open-minded, not about just being like, I am just a terrible person and I need help. Like come with dignity and self-respect and some self-esteem. And any coach that sees you kind of beating yourself up like that is a professional coach is going to point it out to you and be like, hey, there's seems to be some stuff over here and that might be great to work on in therapy or whatever. This isn't about shaming people. This whole conversation is about helping you set yourself up for the most success in a coaching relationship. So, do you guys have any kind of thoughts on, if people listen to this and they're like, well, I just feel like you guys are shaking your finger at me.
I mean, to me, I'm not judging anyone. Like in my coaching, I'm not judging. If this has happened to you, whatever the situation is, let's talk about it. I'm not going to sit here and judge you and be like, oh, you shouldn't have done that. If you did that, let's talk about it. Why did you do that? How did it make you feel? Is that what you wanted to do? If it wasn't, what did you really want to do? And then why did you not do it that? And then, we're getting down to the core pieces of, what's going on in their mind and everything like that. So I'm never going to judge people. I'm never going to judge people. And again, I want success. I want someone to leave my sessions or, however long I'm coaching them for and be like, shit, you know what? I went from here to here. And yes, it was a lot of work, but this is where I want to be. And I'm so glad that I did it because I would have been stuck back then, doing whatever. And even when I speak to my young adults, it's kind of like when I'm at the end of coaching them, they're like, I didn't think it was possible to get from where I was to where I am now.
Mhm.
And to me, I'm just kind of like, oh, that gives me goosebumps. But I feel like, I'm not saying I don't do anything. I mean, I help them, but it's kind of like they have to do the work. And when they put in the work and then they come back and they're like, oh my God, I was able to do this. It's just kind of like, okay, this is an amazing win. So, that gets me excited. That really does get me excited. And even me myself having a coach and seeing where I come from, from my what happened to me and then where I end up. Again, I'm just kind of like, wow, this person helped me get from A to B and then I'm now at C and now I want to go further. So, it's a great thing. It's a great thing when you see the improvements that people can make and the changes of habits, and then them saying, I want to own this instead of being like my parents or whatever, and them kind of changing themselves. But when they change themselves, it's just like, oh my God, this is a different person. And there's nothing wrong with that. There's nothing wrong with change, everyone. There's nothing wrong with it. It's great. It's growth.
It is
Some people
growth.
don't want to grow though. I
So
mean,
we did a whole episode on growth mindset versus
I
fixed
feel like I'm
mindset.
bringing up all of our
I
episodes here.
know. Michelle is the Dewey Decimal catalog
Shameless.
of the Life Coaches Unfiltered episodes. I'll post the Dewey Decimal links to those anyway, I'm dating myself. Lord have mercy. The Dewey Decimal still exists. We just don't have the card catalog. Y'all remember that? I don't know if y'all had those in the UK. These
Yeah.
drawers that you pull out the little cards that you had to the Googles did not exist back then. Anyway, oh
I
Lord.
don't know.
Okay, I'm gonna shut up with my ADHD tangent today. Okay, Doree, do you have anything to add about that last point
No,
that I brought?
for myself, listen, I am no place to judge anybody. If you, I'm an open book. I have been riddled with, I've had a very adventurous life. Let's just put it that way. So usually if someone comes to me and said that they've done something, I probably pretty much have done it as well. And so I like to think that I do create a comfortable environment for people to show up how they are, but also feel free to step into who they want to be. And so that's what I hope people do want when they come in my office. I'm like, take your shoes off. You want to take your shoes off? Here, I'll take mine off. And I just be you, be feel free to be open, to be, be who you are, who you want to be, and we just work through it. And no, there's no judgment on my end. Who am I to judge?
Yeah.
For sure, not the person to judge anybody.
Awesome. Well, thank you guys for your wisdom. All right, Michelle, you got our uncomfortable
Uncomfortable
question.
question. All right, you ready? When was the last time someone gave you honest feedback, and did you actually let it change your behavior or just your mood? So I'll go. If it's from my husband, it changes my mood. If it's from my coach, it changes my behavior.
That's great. That's awesome.
I'm being honest here.
I don't,
But then
oh,
sometimes when he says something to me, I'm just like, all right, I'm gonna analyze this. It's like, yeah, he's probably right. Um, and then I do make some changes, but the majority it'll change my mood. But there'll be some things where, I'm just like, all right, I've got to change my behavior.
I
Yeah, I
So,
think,
think it's a little of both. For me, it's a little of both. Yeah, it does. It changes my mood at first, because again, I get all sore and kind of like, how dare you?
mhm.
And it's the current relationship I'm in, right? And he'll say something to me like, "Hey, have you noticed that you do this?" And I'm like, "Oh, how dare he?" and all of that. And then when I go off to the side, I go, "Damn it." But and then I get to choose if I want to change it or not. I mean, that at the end of the day, it's your choice. Nobody can make you do anything. And um, there's a filter I tell people to go through. Like before you say anything, is it kind? Is it necessary? Is it true? Those are the things to run through your filter before you say something to someone. And then I ask my clients to run it through their own filter as well when it comes through. Was it kind? Was it necessary? And is it true? Is there a nugget of truth in there of something someone has said to you? Um, can you take the nugget and leave the rest behind? What is it from it that you can do? So that's my 2 cents. Desiree.
so a couple things. I'm trying to think of a specific example of when the last time somebody gave me honest feedback was and how I reacted to it. I have a lot of honest conversations with family that I trust. Namely my sister. I'm very grateful for my relationship with her, and we give each other honest feedback. But one thing in a conversation, I'm not going to say who it was with, um, about a difficult situation in someone that I love dearly's life. And I was giving in that sense some honest feedback, but it came from a place of wanting what's best for them and their loved ones versus a place of judgment and this is how you should change. And that changed that person's reaction. They could hear me. And so when I was thinking of this, I'm like, well, it depends. Because if someone, like, I was on a date in the last year and the person was like, wow, is that how your brain works? And I was like, I immediately blurted out, wow, I feel really judged by you right now. And then it changed my mood because then I had my guard up and it changed my behavior because then I was like, I have to perform for this person, right? Because they're judging me. Um, Whereas if I am like in a leadership position and there's someone who's giving me honest feedback about how they see the situation or how what I said or did contributed to this outcome or whatever, right? I will usually be way more receptive to that because it's in a direction of growth.
Mhm.
So my I guess answer to this would be it depends on how this honest feedback is given. If it's coming from a place of judgment, I'm going to likely shut down and start defending myself and also shapeshifting to protect myself. Whereas if it's from a place of curiosity or helping me grow, see around corners that I have not seen, or see things in a different light, then I'm going to be more open to changing behavior and seeing other perspectives. It's a long kind of roundabout answer, but I feel like that's the most truth for me.
It's okay.
Y'all are used to my bullshit, right? That is what I encoded when Michelle was like, "It's okay, Desiree." And the little bubble over
It's
your head is
not
like,
bullshit. If that's the long version, it's okay. We're sharing it with the listeners. Let them listen. It's
and
okay.
that's how my brain works. It's a little squirrel cage in there. Doree's got the little thought bubbles.
Oh
Oh
my
my God.
God.
Anyway.
That was funny.
Okay. Who's got quotes?
Oh my God, that was funny. So yeah, so if you weren't watching this on YouTube, yeah, that was very funny what Doree did about the little clouds and stuff. All right, I'm gonna go. My best skill was that I was coachable, I was a sponge and aggressive to learn, and that was by Pat Summit. And I love that because I feel that that represents me. Plus, she's a sports person as well, so because I feel like I am a sponge sometimes. Even though this perimenopause brain doesn't compute sometimes. Not computing. But I'm always willing to learn. I'm
That's
always willing
awesome.
to learn. Yeah.
Doree, do you have one queued up?
I do. Challenges are what make life interesting. Overcoming them is what makes life meaningful. And that's by Joshua J. Marine. And I absolutely 100% like we learn and we grow from our experiences that are not so always so pretty. And when you overcome them and you get on the other side of it, you're like, I did this. I look back at the things that I've accomplished, and I'm using air quotes because they were not necessarily things you would consider accomplishments, maybe, but the things that I have like survived through, lived through, thrived through, and be on the other side of them and go, if I could do that, I can do anything and be okay. So, what about you, Desiree?
All right. So this one is from Carol Dweck, who wrote a book on growth mindset, which I believe is the foundation of being coachable. So she says, in a growth mindset, challenges are exciting rather than threatening. So rather than thinking, oh, I'm going to reveal my weaknesses, you say, wow, there's a chance to grow.
Mm.
And so I feel like that encapsulates the whole coachability, being coachable, coming to a coaching relationship is, wow, there's a chance to grow. And what can I learn? All right, Doree, what are we talking about next?
Well, we are talking about mis everything has misconceptions, right? We all have misconceptions about everything. Well, what about coaching and the misconceptions? I know that there's a lot of people that we talked about some of those actually today. So next one we're going to talk about coaching misconceptions, correct? As we're
Yes.
talking about. Okay, thank God. Um,
Girl, we would have jumped in with a life raft if we
Oh
were
my
going
God.
this way.
This is
the look
hilarious.
on your face, I was like, oh my,
No,
I
I
was
was just
not
kind of like,
wrong.
yeah, we're right. Yeah, you're right. That's
Oh my God. Poor Doree. No.
Uh,
Yeah, we're talking about,
but yeah, misconceptions, coaching misconceptions. It's going to be a fun one, I think, because there's a lot of them out there, and we can have a lot of fun with that. So
yes,
I
there are.
always look forward to talking to you.
listen, I think we've already planted a couple seeds of what we might talk about in the next episode about the misconceptions today. So come see if some of those show up. So if you enjoyed this episode, we would love to hear your feedback. There is a feedback form down in the show notes. Go ahead and fill that out if you got a question for us or any feedback. We would love to hear from you. So just inviting you guys to stay in touch, and we will be back in another 2 weeks. Until then, bye.
Bye-bye.
Bye.
Thanks for tuning in to Life Coaches Unfiltered. If you love this episode, be sure to subscribe, leave a review, or follow us on social media. Got a question you've been afraid to ask? Send it our way at lifecoachesunfiltered@gmail.com. Until next time, keep growing, keep questioning, and stay unfiltered.